the main thing I'm speaking to you today is about CSL Plasma lying on their donors, also throwing their donors under the bus for anything, and being pretty much unfair to donors. This CSL is a blood donation center. I recently started going after I was dragged along with a friend once, and I've been there for 2 years with no issue until one day I came and there was a lady who was filling in for somebody, and it seemed like she just had I don't know what to say, but something where she feels like she's better than everybody. My day always would be, I would just go in, even though I'm always with my phone because I'm just not used to, I have anxiety and stuff. I'm never in the line on my phone using it in front of people when I'm supposed to be talking to them. At most when I'm about to have my arm pricked, because what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to get your finger pricked, then you get your vitals done to see if you can go. I was holding it in my hand, but I was still answering the lady's question. I was still allowing her to take my vitals. It wasn't like I was unresponsive to her or anything. She starts talking about my phone. She would intentionally not do her job unless my phone was away in my bag, and I was telling her, "You're being ridiculous." I grew up where people would always talk down to me and push me around, and to some extent, I've gotten to the point where I just don't want to have it anymore. But I was trying not to be rude about it. Mind you, I never had problems before, and I got along with everyone great. So then she starts threatening to defer me and pretty much being condescending and rude. And one of the other staff members who I was kind of friends with at that time, I wasn't friends with him before I came, but he would always speak to me and we were somewhat okay with each other. I'm looking at him and I'm kind of gesturing that I'm getting annoyed, and he understood. And apparently she didn't like that, even though I didn't say anything to her or even. So then she says, "You know what? Now you're going to leave. I don't want to deal with you. You need to go, and you're not going to be here today." And that's when I got angry with her, because I've never had this before. It got to the point where, yeah, I went off on her. I did yell at her a little bit, and the manager took me. Mind you, the manager knew me too. And once he had to help me because I ended up passing out a month ago for something small, and I got allowed back. But I told him everything. I even let him know, like, yes, I did scream at her, and I had a few things to say about her. And he said, "Okay, I'm just going to defer you today for this. You never had problems with us before. I'm going to ask her what's going on and see if we got everything. And you can come back on the upcoming Monday." I think it was on a Friday all this happened, so it was just 2 days for me. I said fine and apologized and left. I come back Friday, I still can't log into the machine. So the security guard, along with the lady at the desk, tells me to wait. He comes back out and says, "Well, you didn't tell me you yelled at her, and because of this, I'm going to permanently defer you." And I'm like, I just told you I screamed at her. You're lying at this point. You're taking up for this lady. And he says, "Well, we did something with her too, but we just can't tell you." And as somebody who worked in many places, I know this usually is a lie. This is usually where they say that, but in reality, you probably know that they was just covering for this person. I don't know if he's friends with her or anything, but it just seemed like it was a lot of BS. And I'm like, I told you that. I told you. I yelled at her and I went off on her. What else was there possibly I could tell you? And he says, "Well, it doesn't matter. You're just going to be banned from here." And there's a something with CSL, if you get banned from one location, other locations won't try to take you. So I was extra upset. Even though I kind of wanted to give him a piece of my mind, I just left anyway. Also, that guy that I told you was friends with, he ended up texting me. He had my number. That's another thing. They're very unprofessional, but I didn't care because, in a way, it's something I'm supposed. It's just I just come there just to donate. So, anyways, that's my first problem. Months later, immediately another CSL in the Henrietta location decided to take me, and for the first, I was only there for 3 months. Everything was fine. I had no problems with anybody. Also, the people here are a lot more professional. They get things done quicker. Also, the workers don't seem to have as much of an attitude problem compared to the old location. There was one lady who was rude to everybody. Speaking of rudeness, I read on Google reviews that from an old employee that worked there, they say the manager at the first location feels that the people there, you don't need to bother being respectful to them. It doesn't matter. They should be happy that they're there. They forget that, in a way, they're kind of making more of a profit off of us. That plasma, we're only getting, the most you can walk away with is $40, but they sell it for much more than that. Minus, we're doing something too, whether it's for money or for nothing. But okay, and I already know some douchebag in the comments of this video is probably going to try to use that as an argument. For all we know, that these are people that actually work at CSL. They just don't want to be told about themselves. But that's fine. That's fine. Either way, back to this. As I said, I started going to another location. Everything was okay until one day, apparently, once again, somebody is coming in from another location. And the main problem that day was I was donating, but something was wrong with my veins. This is when I started to find out that my veins were starting to fail. The only directions you have to follow is go in, lay down, and just pump your arm to keep blood flow. As long as you do that, you'll be fine. I was trying to do that, but the machine kept stopping and starting and stopping. So I kept having to raise my hand, which you're supposed to do if the machine does that. And a phlebotomist will come and try to help you. Apparently, somebody didn't want to do their job or was angry that I needed help that was making them do their job, because the next day after I leave, I'm pulled into the office and told, we're putting a warning on your account. You was being rude about your donation. And if you keep doing this, you'll be banned. And I was like, well, what do you mean I was rude? The only thing I helped, and it wasn't even like I was being impatient about it. I would sit there. I barely even said anything. And even when I left, I said, I'm sorry about this. But apparently that didn't matter. And then I even asked the lady, can you tell me who wrote this review so I can speak to them personally? Did I say something that they just mistook or anything? Because I don't really remember saying much to anybody. And then they said, well, we can't tell you that. They were saying things like, we can't tell you that. We know who it is, but we can't tell you what in particular. And I said, I don't remember being rude to anybody. After I went back to the area again, I asked some of the other employees who were there every single day. One of them there, his name is Josh. He even said, wait, somebody said you was rude about your donation here. You've been here for 3 months. I've never seen you be rude. If you ever speak to anybody, I'd be happy to co-sign that you're not rude when you're here. And I was like, exactly. I even asked other people, and they said, we've never seen you be rude, though. I don't get it. So I started going back and forth with corporate, and corporate, they're the people that you have to keep calling a million times because they really don't want to do anything for you. They don't care either. But me already had to deal with one problem. I'm not really allowed to let it go very easy, plus I'm not really a quitter. So for I think about a month and like 5 calls, which were all pretty hard in themselves, I'm called back into my office at the new location. A lady named Melissa comes and she pulls it up and says, okay, I can't really tell you this, but the most I'll tell you is it was someone from another location who doesn't really work here. And she said that you wrote this. Another part of this I should add in is with the corporate calls and the district manager, who was pretty snappy herself, said, well, you should be paying, you should follow directions. I mean, I can't tell you any information. I can't tell you what you did, who wrote this. And I said, but can you tell me anything? And she let it slip. She didn't really voluntarily tell me, but I kept pressing her so much on the phone that she let it slip. Well, you need to follow directions better. Mind you, this is the same person I had to try to explain the first problem. Also, this is different from the lady at the place who I had pull up the info, but this is from the district in this area. She's the one who told me that, and I said, what directions did I not follow? It's hard to not follow directions here. All you have to do when you get to the back is just lay down and squeeze your arm. It also would be very ridiculous to say, no, I'm going to stand through this, because if you do, you're more likely to pass out. How can I not follow the directions? I'm pretty much being blamed for something that your machine did that I couldn't have done unless I went out of my way to touch the machine. And then she said, yeah, but I still got to do this. You still need to, I forgot how she said it, but anyway, you could tell the underlying message was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm still going to do this anyway. And I was like, so I'm being blamed for something I didn't do. Yes, pretty much. And then I said, what if this was your job? Do you understand? I can go in there and I can be put on the hook for just because somebody doesn't want to work that day and they're upset that they have to do their job. Even if it's something that they're messing up. And do you understand if this is how you would feel if you come into work one day and there's a pink slip on your desk with all your stuff packed saying you're fired? When you ask why you've been fired, your boss tells you, oh, a customer said you was rude, so I'm just going to fire you. Minus the day before, everything went perfect to your understanding. And she says, yeah, but just do your donations and just leave. So that kind of showed me that she was just intentionally this is how they treat the people that go to them. And in a way, they know they can get away with it because we don't have any competition here in Rochester, New York. If they had competition, they would probably not be so crappy to their donors. Either way, the next day, still not willing to let this go, I spoke to somebody at my actual location, and her name was Melissa, like I said. She told me in a way that it was somebody that doesn't go here. That also let me know another thing. It's not really the people that are at that location. It's always people from other locations that come around and do this. That I don't know if they feel they can do this because they know that they're only working there that day. Then they're gonna go back to whatever original location they're from, and they feel they can get away with it. I don't know, but both of these people were people that aren't really regulars. So, and then after telling her that, I told her that I noticed there was 3 non-regulars that was working that day. At the end of it, she too was like, I never seen you be rude here. I can't delete it. The system won't allow me, but I am just going to write another note that negates it. So it'll be like it's not there. So after that, I dropped it. Also, another nurse there looked at me for my annual checkup, and even she was like, I've never seen you be rude. I mean, you talk to us all the time, and you're one of the nicer people here. Either way, I'm glad that this manager who was working at the actual place did this. It was good that she was able to take that off. The main reason why I didn't cancel this interview after I got this is I just, in a way, hope maybe it gets out and maybe another plasma center hears about it and realizes that if they came here, it's probably easier competition. They could probably easily, because I have a feeling if we had another plasma donation center, a lot of people would leave CSL, and maybe we'll start getting better treatment because people will realize now we have options. That's the only reason why I didn't cancel with you, even though I kind of like my life private. I don't like being out there. That's pretty much it. So far, I'm on deferral right now, but it's temporary until next month because I just had surgery. But it's okay. I'd rather be deferred for that. For something that is fair, not something unfair. Also, I found out after those last donations, especially the one where I got written up for something they did wrong, that the reason why it was hard for me to get blood and the machine kept stopping is because my veins I've been doing so many donations, my veins are starting to go bad in the arm I've been using. My other arm is okay, but not as good. That and the scarring makes it harder, but even then it wasn't my fault. And I shouldn't have been written up for bad behavior for that. I just, now you have my stories about this place.
I see that. Okay. And what solution are you waiting from them, actually?
First of all, I can't even say if I really want to go back to the old location. I mean, the only thing good about the old location was it was next to a Walmart and it was next to a Goodwill and a Big Lots and some other stores that I liked next to a nail shop. Also, a comic book shop that I liked, but to be honest, I don't even know if I even want to see these people again. I'm not going to lie, it's been months and I still have a big hatred for the manager. And that guy that's there is no longer my friend. He took up for the lady, even though he only saw half of what went on. So, what kind of friend are you? But the most is I would like to see, it's not even really from CSL, I would really like another competitor to come to Rochester, New York. It'll probably force people to start treating people better because they'll see we have options. The most I would like from CSL is to start treating their people better, or at least have it where people coming from other locations can't put tags on people's accounts because it seems like they don't know how to act right. Another thing would be great is if you're gonna put an accusation that could possibly get a donor banned, it needs to be double checked. They have cameras there and everything. I mean, use them.